Oh, yeah, I know that spot.
So these are pretty raw.
Yeah, these are pretty raw. So how long are these videos that
This
you
one's
have?
3 minutes.
3 minutes?
Kinda
Okay.
scoots
So let's,
through.
okay,
Oh,
right
we
here,
go,
right
we
here.
go.
Okay, all right, so let's look at this. So, okay, so right here, for people who are watching, again, we're just getting this. These are people bringing them in coolers. There's no one around.
That looks
Those are
like a
votes.
radio.
That does not
Wow.
look like a bustling ballot counting operation. That
In the-
looks
in the
like
dark.
That looks like the kind of place where Hunter Biden would find his next fix.
And one of the things is there's, certainly a lot to be happening. Wayne County has a lot of votes, but it's the dead of night.
Yeah.
The polls have been closed for hours and hours. Where are these where are these
And they were
people coming
supposed to
from?
stop counting. That's what they said on air.
Right. And what are they doing at this particular moment that they need these type of containers at this particular time?
Wow. Okay. Let's keep fast forward. What was that voice that I just heard?
There's a white van
Oh, it's someone
Narrating.
Narrating.
on this little cart thing. See?
Wow.
He's getting something out of there.
There's just one guy.
Yeah.
And he's not even wearing a tie.
So the person who's going to be logging in, her name is Kelly S., and she's a licensed attorney here in Texas, again, up in the Detroit area, who monitoring with some other groups that are part of the Attorneys for Trump organization. They're just there monitoring, making sure that things get done correctly.
wagon.
And you're going to see wagons and
That's
other
a wheel-wed wagon.
strange implements. So this is either a horror movie or something worse.
Wow. I mean, you wouldn't be able to trust that just because some ballots could fly off the back. That's a guy in a WrestleMania T-shirt with a KB Toys wagon.
Wow.
So he's
I was
bringing
joking
these.
about the radio flyer.
No, but yeah, you're
That's
right.
actually
That's
a
a
radio
radio
flyer.
flyer.
He got the nice
It's
brand.
on brand.
Yeah, the good thing, yeah, that's name brand.
Good for him.
Wow.
They spent the extra 20 bucks.
So
he's
think of the different points here where there's no security. There's no security. First off, we have no idea how these things got into the van. There's no one there right now escorting him from the van. There's no one meeting him as he brings it into there. Like you would think that there should be a human conveyor belt of people. It should look like American Gangster when they're all cutting the cocaine naked, so that you're sure they don't have anything in their pockets. And this guy's just walking in. There isn't any kind of official there for hundreds of yards.
Goodness.
He's just
We
bringing in
actually-
a
yeah.
wagon right there, and
We
we
actually have her on air. The person who
the person who
filmed
recorded,
it,
and we
yeah.
have more videos. So let's and her name is
Kelly Sorrell.
Kelly Sorrell. Kelly Sorrell, can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you so much for being with us. Hey, and look at this. Even after a long night, you look better than the people over there on CNN, and you actually have lighting and sound that functions. Kelly, I don't want to get this wrong here. My half-Asian lawyer Bill is here. That was you videotaping this, and I don't want to be redundant, but I don't think this can be stressed enough. This was happening in one of the major areas of Michigan, right in Detroit. We just watched one video where a guy was bringing it in a red wagon, these ballots. Explain to me what you saw and why you brought it to Half-Asian Bill's attention and officials. Why is this so concerning?
Well, I actually went up there. All the polls were closed, and I went up there after we had all gotten back to the hotel. I was kind of watching the news and decided I was going to go check on, it's called Kobo. And so I thought I'd go downtown and check out how the absentee ballots were being counted and see if they were still counting, because I had actually heard on the news that they weren't going to be counting anymore.
That's exactly. So we were doing the election stream all night. And keep in mind that into that point, when we were about to go to bed, they said we're going to reconvene. I think they said at 9 a.m. or they said at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, an hour later, there was a huge jump in Michigan for Biden. So yes, we were there last night. People can corroborate it. 8 million people watched. They said no more counting, and that's when you started filming this video, right?
Well, yeah. And so as soon as I heard that, I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to go down there and just check and make sure that they actually are cutting it off, because I would hate people to leave or not be down there checking on things and they be doing something shady. So I went down and I actually got in, and they screened me for COVID. They took my temperature, made sure I had my mask. I kind of roamed around, and I was like, I'm going to go grab some coffee and then come back and park for the night, because they were active. So I left, and as I was walking out the door, I see this white van pull up. And as I stopped for a second, turned on my phone, you saw the video where I kind of like walk around and I see he's pulling out like an old radio flyer wagon and is like connecting it. And then I get in the car and I see him like drop the box. And that was pretty much, we had worked polling stations for the night. And that's, very similar to the box that we had seen and been watching and monitoring to make sure that it got locked and removed from the polling stations, put in vehicles and driven to the secure locations.
Right.
So it was just one of those where I was like, that's kind of weird. So I went and grabbed my coffee, came back and just was sitting and just observing. I tried to go in. I'm not a Michigan resident, so I'm not allowed to actually go and roam around on the floor.
Right.
But I could observe. It was a glass window. I could observe. There was no security at the door. Nobody was checking bags or credentials or, who was coming in, even identification, anything. People were just able to go in. I'm assuming if they were actually counting ballots, they would get something somewhere.
Right.
But just for regular folks, and there were other attorneys in our group that actually got in later and just roamed the floor.
So that was the first